Hello and welcome to Military Mantra. Today we have Brigadier Brij Gopal sir from the Indian Army, and he has served in the Indian Army for multiple decades. And in this interview, we'll try to understand his journey of joining the armed forces, leading the troops in the battlefield, and various life lessons that he has learned over his service. And he is also a published author, which about the book, which we'll be also speaking about. So thanks a lot, sir, for coming on this interview, and welcome.
Thank you very much, Akash. And at the outset, let me first thank you for speaking these high words for me. Really grateful to you, and look forward to more discussion with you.
Got it, sir. So if you could start with your childhood, how was your upbringing in the initial years, and how did you eventually decide to join the Indian Army?
Okay. See, Akash, I've had a very simple and humble upbringing. My father was a lawyer. I come from Lucknow, and my father was a lawyer, and my mother was, she actually uh, helped us grow up. So, what you can say in the modern language is she was a homemaker. And the early childhood was very, very plain and simple. I did not have anybody, any relative, etc., in the army as such. Although my brother, who was much elder to me, he was he had joined the Air Force, but I saw very little of him because he was quite elder to me. And by the time I could अपने होश संभालता मैं, he had gone to the Air Force. So he was the only person who was in the forces. But yes, there was a class fellow of my father. He was an army man, and he retired sometime in 1962. He was Lieutenant Colonel Vishwanath Chak, and he was from the Garhwal Regiment. Uh, so at that time, 1982, I was uh, in class 82, 83, and 80. 80, I did my class 10. So that is the time. This gentleman, Colonel Chak, he retired. He died in 81, or rather 1980, he died. So, I at that point of time, I had not even thought of joining the forces. But he used to tell a lot of stories of his World War days. He was a World War II veteran. So he used to tell a lot of stories. And his wife used to tell us a lot of stories. And that developed a lot of interest in me about the army life, the way of life an army person lives. So that was one gentleman who had a lot of impression, who left a lot of impression on my mind as far as the defense services were concerned. Then, I was uh, introduced, or rather, I started reading a lot of these commando comics.
Okay.
Now, those days, commando comics were depicting British or German soldiers and their stories, etc. And I used to read hell of a lot of them. I had a big library of commando comics. So that, motivated me quite a bit. And then Amar Chitrakatha was the other one. Now, Amar Chitrakatha associated with Indian heroes, Indian war heroes. So that love and affection and patriotism, you can say, grew from these Amar Chitra Kathas. And lot of interest I developed in movies like, Hakikat, Hindustan Ki Kasam. Those were in 19 late 70s. Those were movies which were being telecast and screened, rather not telecast, rather screened. So those were the movies which developed a lot of interest in me. But then, as long as my father was alive, uh, I had not really thought of joining the forces because he was a lawyer,
Hmm.
and he, as long as he was there, I mean, I was not looking at a second career. Everybody in the family used to talk. कि वकील साहब का लड़का है, वकील साहब के बाद वकालत करेगा. So mindset was, made that way. And uh, my father was a very respected lawyer. Lucknow in those days was a small city, and it was so small that there were letters which used to reach our house, which only had his name, no
Okay.
other letters. So they used to just write his name, Mr. Shiv Gopal Advocate, and the letter would reach us. So that was a sort of reputation he had, and thereafter I realized that his honesty, his integrity to the profession, his respect, all that came to fore after he passed away, because there were a lot of a few of complex legal issues which had to be resolved,
Okay.
and a lot of people came out of nowhere and they said कि अरे वकील साहब का काम है, we are there to help you. So then I realized that being an honest person, being a straightforward person, has its own merits,
Hmm.
and it pays in the longer run. So probably that grew in me. Then my mother was, though she was 1920 born, so she was
Hmm.
quite a senior person, but then her thought process was very practical, very dynamic, and she used to come out with quick decisions. So I'm told now by my military colleagues that I take decisions very fast.
Hmm.
So in fact, I got a compliment. I visited 62 RR once, and that is when I was doing higher command. So I visited 62 RR, and ex-JCO of mine, he saw me for the first time. So he said कि साहब यहाँ पे बोलते हैं कि I am known as BG in the army. So he said साहब यहाँ पे लोग बोलते हैं कि बीजी साहब का डिसीजन उनके चश्मे में होता था. He used to do like this and used to come out with a decision. So I took it as a compliment. So this, I think, quality has come to me from my mother. And why I say that she used to take very quick, complex decisions, because uh, I saw her taking a decision. There was a niece of mine, my brother's daughter,
Hmm.
and she wanted to marry. And in those days, that is in 80s, she wanted to do a interfaith marriage. My brother was not able to take a decision, and when he consulted my mother, immediately he says, "There's no problem. The girl wants to marry somebody. That boy is." Well placed. He's a pilot in the Indian Air Force. Go ahead. Don't think twice. So that is the type of thing which I imbibed from my mother. And discipline was something which my school has put in me, St. Francis School in Lucknow. I think this is the concoction which has gone in me.
Got it, sir. So if you could also speak about, after you lost your father, how did you still make the decision of switching from, not pursuing law, but instead choosing to go in through the military route? And similarly, what advice would you have for the young kids who wants to pivot and do something else in their life?
Okay. See, as I told you, as long as my father was alive, there was no thought of joining anything, doing anything else. It was always said, वकील साहब का लड़का वकील है, वकालत करेगा. But then in 1981, when I lost my father, then this void sort of a thing came, because the main bread earning member of the family had gone. So I thought that responsibility is mine and I should start earning immediately. So I filled up a form. That was, I remember, it was some clerical post in the banks, and the admit card came, and my sister saw it, my immediate sibling, elder to me. So she saw, and she immediately tore it in front of me and my mother. And my mother then told me, she said, Ki, if you want to earn, make a beginning as an officer, then you might land up somewhere in between. But if you start your thought process as a clerk, then you will become a chaprasi. I think that was a very pragmatic advice given to me. And she said, you don't worry about funds. You study. First, become a graduate. And then you think about anything else. And I'm there. Don't worry. I'll support you. So that is how, that is where I say that her decisions were very, very quick and very, straightforward. Thereafter, so this lawyer thing went away from my horizon because I was still in class 11. I was going to appear in class 12. Thereafter, 2 years of graduation, and then to do law, again 2 years course. And then after qualifying as a LLB, I could have started my father's career. And the clients that he had wouldn't have waited that वकील साहब का लड़का 4 साल बाद मेरा केस लड़ेगा. So I had to do something immediately. So the immediate thing was to look for NDA. So when I explored the possibilities of how to appear in NDA, what is the age, etc., I realized that I was already overage for NDA. The only thing that I could have, I was fitting in was the Combined Defense Services exam. But that was after graduation. And my mother had said, you first become a graduate. So I started studying for graduation. And by the end of graduation, I appeared in the Combined Defense Services exam. I had only one chance. So I really put in my, whatever I had, I put it behind the written exam. God has been kind. My father's blessings were there. I got through, and thereafter, SSB also I cleared. So that's how my line changed.
गॉट इट सर. सर अगर आप थोड़ा बता सकते हैं कि आपका एसएसबी एक्सपीरियंस कैसा था, और उस जर्नी में आपने क्या सीखा, और कौन सी चीजें जो आप जो है एस्पिरेंट्स को बताना भी चाहते हैं.
Come again. You said how was my journey in
Yeah, in
in the
the SSB,
academy?
in this service selection board, sir, how was that experience there?
Okay. Now, before that, you had asked me a question that what would I like to say to the younger generation
Yes,
who can,
yes,
pivot from the thing.
yes, sir.
You see, what I would say is that a youngster who says, I want to serve my country may not be the correct thing to say. Because every Indian is serving the country. And I am always reminded of the last line of John Milton of poem, where he, in the last line, he says, "They also serve who stand and wait." Now he talks about himself and on his blindness, because John Milton was blind. So he says that everybody does his bit. Everybody serves the nation. Even if a blind man serves the nation in his own way. So to say that everybody joins the forces to serve the country may not be the right thing. Yes, you definitely get a chance to serve the country in the front line, albeit with a little more risk. So you get a profession where it is a decent profession. There is no hanky-panky in that in that profession. You serve the nation in a more dignified manner. So that is where youngsters can take up this profession. It is the most cleanest profession. It is a profession which is unparalleled. When I say unparalleled, as a Hindu, I have gone to a mosque and prayed and offered my prayers over there. There are Muslim course-mates of mine. Without them, मंदिर में आरती नहीं हो सकती. Commanding a Gorkha regiment, a Muslim CO has, without him, the aarti cannot be done. These things are only possible in the defense services. So
Got it,
my
sir.
advice to them is this. Now, your next question was my experience in IMA.
Yes.
My experience in IMA, and
So if you could also briefly
What?
speak about your experience in the SSB, where probably it was
Yeah,
long
yeah,
back.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Long back. See, as I told you, my brother was in Air Force. So before I went for SSB, he was posted somewhere in Chandigarh, if I'm not mistaken, but he was crossing Delhi. So we met for a brief moment. And he told me, he said, my only advice to you is be truthful in your SSB. Don't try to fool around over there. So when I went for my SSB, again, as I told you, I had only one attempt left. So I put in all that I could in my group tasks. Now came my personal interview with the president. And there, that interview would have lasted almost about 40, 45 minutes, where he spoke to me on various aspects of life. And I was extremely, extremely truthful to the extent that he asked me, how are you in studies? And I told him, I said, sir, I'm a lower mediocre student. So, for which he did smile. I don't remember the name of the president, but he smiled a little bit. And that was the last discussion. So, what I would tell everybody is that SSB is something which sees you from all around. It's a 360-degree perspective that they take of a candidate. So, whenever a person goes over there, he should be extremely, extremely truthful, and uh, that is where they come to know the true worth of an individual. They are not looking for somebody who's outstandingly brilliant or something, but they are looking for that current which should be there in a youngster, and
Got
probably in their questions,
got it, sir.
that current comes out.
So if you could also speak about your life in the IMA, in the Indian Military Academy, and any memorable instance that you have from your time.
Okay. Uh, See, academy life is very fast because right from the day you join the academy, the curriculum over there is very, very tough, very rigorous. So, during the day, you are doing your training. During the evening, you are doing your toughening exercises, which are supervised by your seniors. So, time moves very fast, and the busy schedule keeps you going. More so, the life is tough over there, but then you see that and you go through that in a group. So when you're doing all these things in a group of your own buddies, uh, things happen very fast. They happen as if today when I look back at it, I find it very, very easy. So that is the place where you learn camaraderie. That is where you learn brotherhood. That is where you learn what exactly is esprit de corps. So uh, there you have instructors who are your, it could be officer instructor, it could be JCO instructor, it could be a non-commissioned officer as an instructor. But they are the people who motivate you. And mind you, some of the best uh, combatants, that is officers, JCOs, and other ranks who get posted to the IMA, uh, you get motivated by their aura, by seeing it. So, there are people, there are officers, there's men, there are JCOs and men, NCOs who motivate you right from there. So, uh, when I was in the academy, I was motivated by a lot of these instructors. Uh, when the instructor used to come and stand, you could see the bearing that he had, ramrod bearing. So, the way he used to speak, the way he used to give his command, whether it's an NCO or a JCO. So that gives you a lot of motivation that he should be a role model, and that is what motivated me the most in the academy.
Got it, sir. Uh, Sir, अगर आप ये बता सकते हैं कि when you were part of the Dogra regiment, what were some of the learnings that you had as part of that journey? And you were also the instructor at Army School of Mechanical Transport in
Mechanical
Bangalore.
transport.
Yeah. How was
Yes.
that experience as well?
See, when I joined uh, when I passed out of the academy, I was commissioned into the 10th Battalion of the Dogra Regiment. Now, when I joined over there, my CO over there, God bless his soul, he is no more. Uh, Colonel Buddhi Raja was Anil Buddhi Raja. So, he one day called me. I just uh, I was commissioned in Uri on a ridge which is called the Rustam Ridge, which is one of the front post uh, locality even today. So he called me on a patrol. So I had heard these terminologies in the academy, but it was only limited to academics. He said, okay, these are the 10 men. This section you will lead, and you will go to Saratjit, you will go to Khanda, you will go to Urs Khan Galla, and then you will come and report here. So, and thereafter he broke me off. So that was the briefing that he gave me. Now, when you start moving along with these 10 men, there's something very, very intriguing. Now, this intrigue is, why do these 10 men follow you? And what makes a second lieutenant, in those days we were second lieutenants, what makes a second lieutenant lead these 10 men? It's a very, very intriguing chemistry, which I can now explain, which I have now understood. You see, what happens is that when you go into enemy territory, another thing what Kalbutia told me, he said, uh, don't stray towards your right or towards your west, because then you will go into Pakistan. That was the only thing that he told me. So, so this chemistry that I was talking about, you see, when you are walking, you are totally in a hostile environment, hostile terrain. The only thing that keeps you walking, which keeps you moving ahead, is the confidence that these 10 men behind you, they will save you in case you do something wrong and if you go somewhere wrong. And why do these 10 men follow you? Because they feel that you have been trained by the Indian Military Academy. And this second lieutenant who has been trained by the Indian Military Academy, perhaps he's more educated also. But since he has been trained by Indian Military Academy, he will take us on the right path. So this is a very strange symbiotic relationship that is shared between the officer, a young officer, and his men. And this bonding grows. This bonding grows when you live with the troops, when you eat with them, when you sleep with them. This bonding starts growing. And this chemistry, it is something great. And slowly they start accepting you as an able leader, and and then you move ahead uh, in life. So from a section you grow to a platoon. From a platoon you become a company commander, and then a commanding officer. And when I was commanding 62 RR, then I realized that slowly, people would start believing in you. Now, I was a person who was commissioned into 10th Battalion of Dogra Regiment, but I didn't command 10th. Now,
Okay.
all those people who command their own battalion where they are commissioned, there the troops have seen you. So their allegiance to you flows automatically. But unfortunately or fortunately, I would say, I went to raise a new unit where I met people for the first time. They saw me for the first time. So I had to develop this understanding, uh, this faith between us. But by the time we were deployed, uh, I could see, and I've written in my book at number of places. I could see the things coming back to me, where people had faith in me,
Hmm.
where people started obeying what I said, and I used my own ingenious ways and means uh, to convey a point to them that was innovative, that was practical. Uh, so they started understanding what I said, and that's how the battalion did so well. The troops, it's all their contribution that the battalion did well.
Got it, sir. So you spoke about, raising the 62 Rashtriya Rifle of Dogra from the scratch. So how did that assignment, reach you, and how did you manage and face all the challenges and build that team and the culture?
Well, you see, uh, 62 RR came to me as a shock, to tell you frankly. I I had opted for commanding a Rashtriya Rifle battalion. To some extent, it was promised to me by the then military advisor to the chief, because General NC Vij was the chief army staff at that time, and he was from Dogra Regiment, I was from Dogra Regiment. So suddenly I was told that you are moving to Faizabad to raise a new racing 62 RR Rashtriya Rifles. So it came to me as a shock. I was a RR opti. I had told the MA that I want to command the RR battalion, but I did not expect a new racing. I had heard a lot of people say that new racing is a bugger's battle and it is very difficult. Everybody is in a different direction. Everybody wants to do everything on his own. So it's very, very difficult. So I'd heard these stories. But today I can say, in hindsight, I can say that I'm grateful to the officers and men who were who were given to me to raise this battalion. My salute to them, and they lived up to what I expected. The battalion did very well. These boys did very well, and since these boys did very well, the battalion reached where it was supposed to be. And yes, there were difficulties, uh, there were challenges which we came through uh, as we moved along. You see, uh, the first thing that I did was that when uh, I created a screening cell in the unit. Now,
Okay.
this screening cell, whenever a person used to be posted to 62 RR, now 62 R when it was raised, uh, you know, it was raised without a formal raising order. So, a person who came to 62 RR was not posted to 62 RR, he was sent to the Dogra Regimental Center at Faizabad on attachment.
Hmm.
He still remained on the strength of his parent battalion, but he would come under me to raise 62 RR. Now, this particular thing had certain inherent problems. One, so this screening cell used to screen that gentleman. He, what are his credentials? How has he been behaving in his unit? Was he fit and meeting the qualitative requirements that were laid down by the army headquarters for a person to come? So all these things they used to check. The inherent problem was that since this gentleman was not posted to me, but was coming to me on attachment, he would not carry all his documents. He would carry only his paybook.
Hmm.
Now, the paybook does not have all the entries of his, you know, what are the reading entries he has got, how much of, uh, you know, rewards that he has got, whether it was punishments or rewards or whatever it is. So it did not happen. So to screen a person in the absence of all these credentials was very difficult.
Hmm.
So there's a document in the army. It is called as IAFZ 958. Yeah, IAFZ 958. Now, IAFZ 958 gives all these things.
Okay.
Now, that comes with the person only under when he is posted to be. In the absence of that, the screening cell had to screen the person, interview him. And then I used to interview each and every person and then select a person or say that he is not fit, he should be sent back. And I would say the records of the Dogra regiment held my hand. Whoever I recommended that he should be sent back was sent back. Another challenge which came is that the artillery and the infantry units, the person I could send him back to the center, to the unit, back to his unit. But in case of EME, signals, etc., uh, he was SOS, but struck off strength from his parent unit. Now he could only go back to the center. Now the
Hmm.
center would not accept that person because they said ki he is posted to you now, you accept him. So one had to fight a battle with the centers of the various corps, and army headquarters helped me. So the racing became very smooth, and uh, 62 hours ultimately formed. So that was one thing, and the second thing was creating aspiratic corps.
Okay.
Now that was something which was a tall order, because it is no way written how to develop aspiratic corps. So what I did was I started having intercompany games. I said, okay, all of us will shed our parent regiment and battalion affiliations. I will not talk about Dogra. Similarly, nobody else will talk about anything. No artillery affiliations, no EME affiliations, nothing. And we are all now a part of 62 RR. So what we are going to do is 62 R, 62 RR, 62 RR, nothing else. So that was one way, another way, and probably now in hindsight, I feel that was the right way to do it, because we came
Hmm.
together very strong, and then various things like I devised a tracksuit for them. So
Hmm.
when they were not on training, they would wear a tracksuit जिसके पीछे लिखा हुआ था बहादुर 62.
Okay.
So that they associated themselves. People started recognizing them. And I said, ki everybody will be, right from Faizabad, would be carrying a weapon, and he would be in combat dress. So the baptism of the battalion started like this. So that culture of combat culture, I could, build right from the beginning. And that's how 62R moved ahead.
Got it, sir. So you also mentioned, your battalion also got a lot of national recognition and awards. So what were the some of the key ingredients, behind that success?
See, uh, 62RR, as I've been saying, that they did very well. They did very well. So I must here mention that uh, what is this did well? Quantify that. Within about 18 months of our operational deployment, 62R got the Northern Army Commander's appreciation. So this was received by me from General H.S. Panade. 15 months is nothing. But thereafter, in the next year, that is within 25 months, we got the Chief of Army Staff's Unit Citation. And a little before that, we also got a silver trophy from the Chief, which was received from General Bikram. And this silver trophy for being the best battalion in counter-insurgency in the army. Now, these three awards at a young age of 25, 26 months of operational deployment is something which is unique. And very many people today in 62RR are not even aware of this. So that is where I felt that I must write these things down, pen these things down, so that the current generation knows what went in to make 62RR, and what was it that 62R achieved in such a short time. So that is what goaded me to write this book. Now, as far as you said that national recognition. So these are the national recognition that we got. Now, how we moved towards it and how we achieved them. I felt that there were three virtues in life. One was sincerity, truthfulness, and the third one was transparency. Now, whatever we did, I wanted that it should be covered under these three headings. First thing was sincerity. So I always tell my subordinates that just don't work hard. work with sincerity. And if in being sincere, you have to work hard, then do so. But if you have been asked to do something, do it with sincerity, do it to the best of your capacity. And in doing so, if you have to work hard, so be it. So that is where the sincerity part came in. The second thing was truthfulness. Now, this is something which I imbibed from my father. As I told you earlier, that he had a he had a very truthful sort of approach to life. So uh, I was very truthful in my command also, and to the extent that GOC Victor Force used to give me a call, and he used to ask me, Bridge, what happened in that operation? There was some thing I should narrate the incident to him. That was the last word. Thereafter, he would never ask me, what happened. He knew that I would be telling the truth. So, telling the truth pays a lot. And the last thing was transparency. Uh, whatever I did, uh, I made it transparent. I'll give you a small example. I said that since RR is a mixture of troops from infantry, artillery, AME, ASC, ordnance, etc., in whichever ratio these troops have come, we must get our awards in the same ratio. And it is not only the awards, a person is getting a commendation card or a cinema medal or something. He should get recognition in some way or the other, whether his photograph comes in the special order of the day or something of that sort. So I made sure, and I managed to achieve that. May not be to the same percentage, but to some extent, I managed to achieve that. To the extent, certain ASC drivers who were driving the Casper uh, during operations along with me, their photographs also and their roles were also highlighted uh, in the special orders of the day. I maybe there was an engineer NCO who got a Sena medal with me. So I ensured that these are the people who this award should also go in the same ratio. During the training, a lot of innovative things were tried out. What I can remember is that, during firing, oh, the range was a recruit training range. Faizabad, the Dogra Regimental Center had a training range which meant for the recruits. Now I had to innovate things. So uh, I did try to, uh, uh, innovate certain things, but that needed a bit of risk to be taken. Because firing range is something where things can go wrong. Now I told my troops, I said, I'm not interested in you hitting the target in bullseye. I want you to hit the target wherever it. Whether you hit the chest of the target or you hit the head of the target, I'm not interested. But your bullet should hit the target. So, a lot of innovative methods were employed. The officers who were assisting me in raising, they did an exceptional job. We got through this innovative training where the troops used to stand with their back towards the target, and then the instructor on the firing butt used to say left target. They used to turn, cock the weapon, and fire on the left target. So that was bringing in a bit of a surprise for him, which target to engage. It was fraught with dangers, but these officers and JCOs, they did a good job. We did not have a single incident. And the second thing was that one company को मैंने shift कर दिया था out of Faizabad.
Okay.
They were sent to a place called Avasimar, which is the training camp of the recruits. And there I made them stay like they would stay in a company operating base in JNK. So these boys, they made machans over there, they made viewpoints over there. They used to stop the traffic over there, check vehicles. So I tried to simulate all the activities that would take place in when we got deployed at Faizabad. So that is how I tried to, put them in line.
Got it, sir. Sir, 62 RR was also very active in the counter-insurgency zone. So, how did you train your people so they are able to adapt to that environment, both tactically and psychologically?
Okay. See, as I told you that the training phase began from Faizabad itself. It began from Faizabad itself. And uh, when we got deployed, uh, we there was nothing new because we had started this culture right from the Faizabad days. Movement at night was something which I had learned from Colonel Chuck. He used to tell a lot of stories of Second World War. In fact, one of the stories which I can remember is that he was talking about some movement which they were doing sometime somewhere in Gobi Desert at night, and he could hear water inside a water bottle making noise at night. So he used to tell us stories that whenever he moved out with his people, he would ensure that the water bottle is full. And while moving to the target, he never allowed anybody to drink water. Because if you drink water, the water bottle would empty. And the moment it got empty, it would start making that noise. Water would start making that noise. And that noise at night travels a long distance. So I started following that as a company commander also I followed it. And in my 62R also we followed it. So that was something which I picked up from there. The second thing which I picked up was from the terrorists themselves. The terrorists never spoke in very long sentences. So I used to keep my conversation on the radio, and I taught my troops conversation on the radio set very, very short. I departed from the given way of radio telephony, where people say hello Alpha 1 for Alpha 3 and Alpha 4 for Alpha Charlie 6. I said nothing to it. I had given names to everybody. So I would say my name was Usman. So I would say Usman to Kareem. He would from the other side reply, Ji Janab. No Jahan, no nothing. So this was a unique radio telephony that we developed, and it continued 62 hours. And what I learned from the terrorists is never talk on specific issues. Like if I'm moving from my battalion headquarters uh, to a particular place, uh, we would talk between the company commander and me. I would talk that tomorrow I will come to you. Now, on the radio, when this was conveyed, so a short communication used to be made by the signal person that जनाब उस्मान चल पड़े आपके पास आ रहे हैं. Now चल पड़े हैं, कहाँ से चल पड़े हैं, आपके पास आ रहे हैं. It was totally a veiled sort of a like this is how the terrorists also talk. जनाब वहां मिलेंगे जहां पे हमने बकरा खाया था. Now you can keep guessing कि कहाँ पे बकरा खाया था उसने. So this is what we imbibed, and this is what I taught my troops. So that brought in secrecy within the our signal communication. So this is how we brought in secrecy in our uh, communication.
Got it, sir.
One more thing you had asked.
No, sir. How did you basically train them psychologically and tactically, which you have
Okay,
answered?
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah,
So you also mentioned that you had come up with a concept called patrol come ambush in the CI
yeah,
operations.
yeah.
So
Yes, yes.
how did you come up with that, and could probably if you could explain what
Yeah,
this
yeah,
means
yeah.
and the effectiveness
Yes,
of
yes,
it?
yes, yes. See, we are taught two things in army. One is to carry out patrolling, and the second thing is to lay ambushes. These are very common military terms which are used in conventional war also, and in counterinsurgency they are very effective. By doing patrolling, You are moving around in your area of domination, area of interest. And by moving in your area of interest, you're dominating your area of interest, area of responsibility. Now, when you move around in your area of responsibility and you show your presence, you first of all meet a lot of people, you get acquainted by the terrain, and you make the movement of the terrorist difficult. Ambushes are placed on expected lines on which the terrorist is going to come, and then you ambush him and neutralize him. Now, my experience right from second lieutenant days was that generally we do these two things separately, patrolling separate, ambush separate. Now, when a person goes out in ambush, he is required to sit there for about 8 to 10 hours waiting for the enemy or the terrorists to come in. Now, right from my second lieutenant days, which was in Uri, which used to experience a lot of snow and very low temperatures, I realized that sitting in a cold climate surrounded by snow for 6 to 8 hours is impossible, because the cold gets into your nerves, and at one point of time you are actually fighting the cold rather than fighting the terrorist. So as a company commander, also I experienced this. And when I came to 62 RR, and when company commander said, sir, we are going to lay an ambush from 2200 hours to say 4 o'clock in the morning, I said, this will never work, because we were deployed in South Kashmir. Winters, I took over the operational responsibility in October. November, December was extremely cold. So I said, I evolved this concept of patrol cum ambush. Now, what happens is when you walk, your body gets heated, it gets warmed up. And when it gets warmed up, so say you walk for about 4 kilometers, so you are doing patrolling. You go and move 4 kilometers to a selected ambush site. Now you sit over there in ambush for about 2 hours or so. 2 hours tak you can comfortably sit in ambush. Thereafter, the cold starts setting in. So you sit in that ambush location which you have selected from your experience and map, and thereafter you again walk for about 4 kilometers. Now again the body gets warmed up, you do a patrol.
Okay.
Now you go and sit in ambush at the second place, again sit for about 2 hours, again start moving from there. So from 2200 hours to 0400 hours, you have done a patrolling route, and you have laid ambush at 3 to 4 places without compromising on your alertness and without compromising on the route of patrol that you had selected. So that is the concept which I evolved. General Panag was extremely intrigued by this, and I think I explained this concept to him in a duo which he very often used to ask me to write. And I don't know whether the neighboring battalions, etc., they picked up this concept or not. But as far as I'm concerned, I was very successful. Yes, once we did trap the terrorist. Unfortunately, we were not successful in converting it into a successful operation. But we did manage to trap the terrorist.
Got it, sir. So you also mentioned about, iron fist in the velvet glove in your memoir. So how does, as security forces, you balance both, protecting the people and also, human rights of the civilian?
See, this concept of iron fist in a velvet glove, this I learned from my CO. When I was company commander in 10 Dogra, 10 Battalion Dogra Regiment, my CO was a gentleman called Jagmohan Verma. Now, he had evolved this concept, and where he said, ki no manhandling. Nobody will ever be manhandled. And I saw him achieving tremendous amount of results. 10th Battalion Dogra Regiment, we were deployed in Rajouri, one of the most infected areas in 98, 99. And we did very well. Battalion did very well. And this was the concept. Now, I told my troops, I said, I don't want any manhandling because this is a concept, this is a misnomer with people that a person never opens up unless he's beaten up. I tend to disagree with that because of what I had learned under as a company commander in Dogra. So the troops were not willing to accept this because they had come from they had carried their baggage, where the baggage was that जब तक कि किसी को गर्म ना करो, information नहीं आती है. So I said no. Now how do I prove it to them? So one day I remember during my Amarnath days, I was walking up and I was doing the Sainik Sammelan also as I moved through the companies. So I never held a Sainik Sammelan centrally. I used to go to each company and conduct a Sainik Sammelan. So when I reached, I think it was Sheshnag, I was holding this thing. And then in the front row, I saw a young soldier. He was dozing off. He was dozing off. Probably what I was talking was very boring. So he probably dozed off. So I immediately got a cue. I said, let me prove my point. So I asked him to get up and I gave him one tight slap. That boy was shaken. And he tried to sit down in his place. So I held him by the hand and I said, you come. And I never used to sit and speak in the Sainik Sammelan. I used to stand and talk to them. So I brought him next to me. And then I asked the JCOs who were sitting behind. I said कि साहब बताओ ये जो मैंने किया, ये लड़का सो रहा था, मैंने जो किया ये ठीक किया कि नहीं? No JCO would speak. After a lot of cajoling, the JCOs slowly said, साहब इसको आप बोल देते कि तू सो क्यों रहा है, खड़ा कर देते, अच्छा नहीं लगता है कंपनी के सामने, इसको आपने थप्पड़ मार दिया. The NCOs also had the same view. My aim was achieved. I said, see, in a very limited space, in front of a company, I have slapped your jaw. You have felt bad. Just imagine you slapping a person in front of his entire village, in front of his family, in front of his relatives. How will he feel? What about self-respect? I said, never manhandle a person. Thereafter, that boy was slightly comforted. And when we had tea, I shared a cup of tea, sipped the tea from his glass. So, that patched up. And people understood what I said. But, this message went like wildfire in the entire battalion. The second spin-off of this particular action was nobody ever slept in my Sainik Sammelan. But the bigger thing was that they understood that manhandling should not be done.
Got it.
And that is where I proved my point and achieved what I wanted to tell them. So, I said no manhandling. And when our boys used to go for their area domination, patrol, etc., they would just move around, talk to people, collect their data, and come back to me. And this particular thing of no manhandling, it is not that the company commander, the troops said कि साहब हम किसी को हाथ नहीं लगाते. I also used to move around independently in my area of responsibility. I used to talk to a lot of people. And there was one old man, he was a headman of a village. So one day he told me, this साहब बड़ी अजीब सी फौज है आपकी, बड़ी अजीब सी फौज है जनाब आपकी. So I said, why? सब बस घूमते रहते हैं. And अच्छी बात यह है कि किसी को हाथ नहीं लगाते. So I said, are you sure my boys are not hitting anybody? He said, yes, I'm very sure. and I'm the Lambardar of the village, I'm telling you that your boys have never raised their hand on anybody. Respect for ladies has been their hallmark. They don't touch anybody. So, and that same village headman once gave me uh, information uh, which was absolutely correct. I would not take his name at the moment. I don't know where he is now, but uh, he shared some very important information with me, and I achieved success on that. So what I'm saying is that you have to set examples. You have to find innovative ways to convey your point to the troops, which I managed to. And I'm once again grateful to the officers and men that I commanded or who came to raise to honor, that they obeyed what I said and we achieved. Uh,
Got it. So sometimes battalions also face setbacks, and casualties are also part of operations. So how did you personally cope up with such losses and motivate the troops still, to bounce back?
See, right from the beginning, during the racing period, I knew that we are going to be deployed in an operational area. Kashmir was facing a lot of turmoil in those days. So setbacks would be a part of our daily routine. When we are moving out of Faizabad, so we held before we moved, a customary aarti was done. And when we were doing the aarti, uh, I was looking at almost about 700 people were moving out of Faizabad, and I looked at each one of them. I knew in my mind that some of us would never return back. But uh, to your question was that setbacks. Okay, so setbacks are a part of operations. Now there were two setbacks which I can remember very vividly and clearly. One was at village Renipura, and the second one was at village Nildora. Now, Renipura, maybe suffered three fatal casualties out of the three. One was a police KKP boy. Uh, Here, the locals connived with the terrorists and they assisted the terrorists to strike back at us, where we suffered these three casualties. In fact, my own buddy made the supreme sacrifice. Uh, the, uh, the grenade which was thrown exploded between my legs, and behind me was my Subedar Major. So we both of us managed to just jump over and save ourselves, but in the bargain, my buddy uh, paid with his life. So, so this was one operation where I was annoyed with the locals. So, but I made sure that none of the locals of this village were, manhandled. I said, yes, the village has played truant, but we will not touch them. But I got the village together and I gave them a very stern warning. I said, you have been harboring terrorists, and if you don't stop this, you are going to pay with it very heavily. Thereafter, I told my intelligence people, I said, I want information about this village, movement of terrorists in this village, and people did well. We got a chance and we trapped two terrorists within a month in the same village. And we neutralized the terrorists over there. And once again, I got the same crowd congregated again. And I told them, I said, see, a month back I warned you, don't do this, but you paid a heavy price for harboring the terrorists again today. So don't do it again. So this is what happened in Renipura.
Hmm.
The other thing where things went wrong was in Nildora. Nildora was something which I felt very sad because all that 62 RR was known for, fire control, training. intelligence, everything, went haywire. And somehow events so happened that all the events, they got together and conspired against me, I would say. And we suffered a heavy loss. We lost 4 uh, fatal casualties over there. And when I did an analysis of that, then I realized that, I've explained it in the book in a lot of details. There's a map also over there, which I can share with you later on.
But
It can be flashed by you. So, what happened was that there were 2 months gap in which Sainik Sammelan could not be held uh, in the battalion. Why it happened was that in the month of, if I'm not mistaken, September, uh, I moved out on leave. My brother, he had contacted, he was not feeling well, and he was in the last stages of cancer. So I went on leave sometime in end of September. And then since he passed away, so I had to stay back, extend my leave. So October I did not join. And the 2IC was very busy because he was officiating. And then we had a lot of high profile visits which took place in the unit. So he also could not visit the company. Then I joined back in the month of November. Again, October I joined back. And again, I could not go because of the GOC was new. So I was trying to orientate him with the terrain and the dynamics of South Kashmir. So I couldn't go to the companies. Now this 2 months gap, that is the month of September and October, this was crucial. Turnover in Rashtriya Rifle battalions is so fast that if you don't visit a company for 2 months, about 30% people are due.
okay.
So that was the time when my battalion was getting turned over. And in these 2 months, a lot of new boys had come, although they were all pre-induction training qualified. But they had not seen me and I had not seen them. And in every Sainik Sammelan, I used to emphasize the ethos of 62 RR that I had built up over last 2 years. So one of the ethos was fire control. With a lot of difficulty, I had built in this ethos of fire control in the troops. A person will fire only if he sees a terrorist. And I still remember in the initial days of our deployment, there was a boy, he in my QRT, and we were in a very close contact with the terrorist. A lot of fire was coming from the terrorist side. And this boy was with a light machine gun. And he put his head down and he fired a complete magazine. The fire was so intense, I could not even move from that tree behind which I was taking cover and move to him and say, stop. So when the firing stopped, I kicked him. I said, bloody idiot, what are you doing? You fired with your head down. Have you seen a target? Have you seen a terrorist? So these are the methods by which I taught the troops that you will fire only when you see a terrorist. And here was Nildora, where people fired without even realizing what they are doing. The entire QRT of the second in command, which went to the village along with the tracker dog, they were totally new. They were of that component of 62 RR which was not aware of the ethos which I had developed. So they just got down without knowing where the terrorists are, where the deployment is. One of the boys saw somebody moving with a gun, some villager moving with a gun, and he opened fire. And seeing him, the rest of them opened fire, which led to the firing from the other side. That is, other side when I say our own people who were deployed on the other side of the village. They were also oblivious. They thought the fire is coming from the terrorists because they were not aware that the QRT has reached the center of the village. So, every teaching had gone haywire.
Hmm.
So I had to analyze all these things. I had to set things back into shape. Whatever I felt was wrong had to be reinstituted. I went around in the companies. I spoke to troops. I told them what went wrong, and then they realized, yes, what CEO is saying is correct. Having fire control is the most important thing. If you fire uncontrolled, it will lead to a similar thing. So that is where the troops started having faith in me. They
Hmm.
started with they started understanding the meaning of what I taught them. And like one example was that, I should tell the troops as a company commander, I never carried my rifle with the sling. I used to always hold it with the pistol grip. So when I told people, I said, Ki, you will not put the sling. Sling is important because you can't say ki sling should not be there. So
Hmm.
there are times when you have to use the sling. So troops at times I found that when they were not under observation, they would put the rifle sling on. And in one case, one JCO missed out on a target just because his weapon was sling arm. By the
Hmm.
time he got it down, cocked it, so during a Sainik Sammelan once again, I asked my buddy, I said, you from the background, you fire a round. And there were two, three boys in the company. I said, Ki, uh, from somebody was with a sling arm, somebody was holding the weapon, the pistol group. And I said, you bring the weapon into action. Action is when you hear the shot being fired, and then you bring the weapon into firing position after cocking it. And the buddy pair of that Jawan would watch in his would see how much time taken. So people who were carrying the weapon in the with the pistol grip could bring the weapon into action in less than a second, whereas people who had the weapon sling arm used to take about 2 to 2.5, 3 seconds.
Hmm.
I said, when a terrorist will give you an appearance for less than a second. So if you're not holding the weapon with your pistol, with the pistol grip, you will never be able to react. So that is how people learned.
Got it.
Okay. So when these two incidents happened and Nildora happened, I examined them threadbare. I went to the troops. I told them that this is what has happened. Now, this incident happened sometime in November, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, it was a big incident. We had four fatal casualties. Uh, I felt that the troops were slightly reluctant. So I started moving myself, and I would go to each and every operation that was being carried out, whether it was a cordon search which was yielding a result, or whether it was not yielding a result. I would show myself at each base. There were certain missed contacts. I would replay those things, enact those things, recreate them on the ground, and then explain to the troops what mistakes they are creating. So, or what mistakes they have committed. So that is how I tried to rejuvenate faith in the troops that you keep doing your duty. And, karma, I taught them karma. I said, do your duty. Don't worry about the result. And if you do it the way I'm telling you, you will not, uh, you'll never be found wanting. So that is how I tried to bring them up. And November, December, and January, uh, this exercise went around. I went to each and every company. I really pushed myself, and I went to all the companies. I went to all the operations, and from February we again started. The troops again started producing results, and the results were so good that that is when I realized that whatever I'm teaching them now they are understanding that. And there were operations where the Ghatak platoon produced exemplary results. They eliminated two terrorists, with an expenditure of just 27 rounds, 23 rounds. Now, that was something which was remarkable. And that is what General Panag was in chair in the army command. He was my army commander. And this is what he wanted, a small team concept.
Hmm.
And the Ghataks produced that small team concept. So that is how I brought their morale back
Got it, sir. Uh,
into
so
them.
I have a few more questions because I think we have
Mm.
gone through 1 hour. Just three more
Yeah,
questions. I'll just try to
yeah, yeah,
conclude.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if you could also speak about, your book and what it was your inspiration back then, and what are some of the key concepts that you wanted to, bring out of the book, which you want to share with the audience?
Okay. See, as I told you right at the beginning, that the aim of this book was to make people aware of uh, the exploits of 62 hour. Because today, the troops which are joining, as I told you, are a very fast-moving organization. So the troops today don't even know. The officers also move very fast. They're also not aware of the achievements of 62 RR. So this aim of this book was to communicate to the people what were the achievements of 62 RR, so that with this history they can get motivated to achieve similar sort of results even today.
Got it.
Uh, Now, coming to what are the, you said what are the
Uh,
uh,
Key learnings that you wanted to share with the
key
audience.
learners? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, See, the key issues. One is that you have to take the people along who are fighting shoulder to shoulder along with you. One is the JK police, JKP. They are the people who are now slowly coming into the forefront. And if you don't cooperate with them, if you don't hold their hand, it is very difficult uh, for JNK to stand on its own legs as far as security is concerned. And we showed this during Operation Chitragam, where we fought along with the JKP. We fought for their cause because right at the beginning of the operation, they had lost. They had a fatal casualty. They had lost a boy, but their input was of three terrorists over there, and we held their hand. We kept searching despite the fatigue and everything. And I think within 36 hours or so, we managed to eliminate two of the terrorists. So that was one big display of joint venture.
Got it.
The other thing I would like to talk about is that you see, the the world is changing. So today's people, today terrorists which are coming, they're also very tech savvy.
Hmm.
The world is moving towards technology-oriented operations. AI is something which is coming in a big way. Communication is taking the upper hand. So the officers, men, and JCOs who are in the unit at this moment, should adopt and adapt themselves to this modern technology. If we can't remain ahead of the terrorists, at least we should be somewhere close to them so that we can beat them in their own game. So this is something which is new and needs to be imbibed by the current generation.
Got it. So my last question to you would be, if there was any cherished memory that you have from the armed forces life, which you would like to share with a younger officer, what would that be?
Uh, okay. See, my cherished memory about the armed forces is that, as I told you, that this is an organization which is unique in its culture and ethos. Uh, Secularism is something which I learned the meaning of this word secular in from the armed forces while I was serving in uh, in the valley in 62 RR. You know, I have prayed and offered namaz in various mosques. As I told you, I know there are course who have who come from a different you know, faith, and they have gone and done arti in a mandir. So this is something unique. You will never find it anywhere. Never, never you will find it anywhere. The second unique thing is that uh, the organization, the military organization and the country looks after its armed forces personnel and their families. I recollect, I'll narrate a small incident. I recollect when I was BM in Nashira,
Hmm.
uh, there was a boy who had there was a terrorist raid, a bad action which happened on a unit, and this boy died over there. 15 years later, when I was the deputy GOC in Mumbai, I visited Amravati on a recruitment drive along with my GOC. So there I heard Veer Nari's name being announced. So this boy who had laid down his life, his name was a very unique name. So I immediately recollected that, who this lady, this Veer Nari belongs to that boy. So I told the GOC, because when I was BM, this GOC was a neighboring battalion CO.
Hmm.
So I told General Nimborkar was the CO. So I told him, I said, sir, you remember that incident? That yes, I said that Veer Nari is here. He said, I would like to meet. So when we went to meet this lady, she was well dressed. I would not say that she was extremely well dressed, but very well dressed for the occasion. The GOC asked him about her children. So she said that her elder child was in the third year of Army Institute of Technology. The second son was in class 8. Probably this boy was born after the demise of her husband. So, so both the children were being looked after. And what was she doing? She was a clerk in the ECHS,
Okay.
ex-serviceman contributory health organization. So what in the nutshell is that the lady was well employed by the army. The son was doing his engineering, and he would be engineer somewhere now. The younger son was class 8 in the army public school. All of these three people taken care of by the army. The nation stood behind these people. Today, this boy, wherever he is, when he is looking down at his family, he would be a very satisfied soul that his country and his army has looked after. So this is a motivating factor which I used to tell everybody.
Hmm.
And I said, don't worry, do your karma today. And the results will keep coming to you slowly.
Got it, sir. So thanks a lot, sir, for your time and sharing your valuable experiences and anecdotes from your life in the Indian Army. And some of those information were quite new to me as well. And I hope a lot of the audience would, watch this podcast and also read your book, would get more insights about the life in the Indian Army. So thanks a lot, sir, for your time here.
Thank you very much, Akash. It has been great talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Jai Hind.